Hey guys, welcome back to the 11th episode of Mess on Me. Sorry I didn't make one for 2 weeks, as if y'all haven't experienced worse buffer before. I was doing that thing again where I was getting in my head too much about structuring things, and then I realized, oh girl, you just have to record. Like, that's really all you gotta do. Stop being so nitpicky about everything. Geesh, girl, what's so hard about that? So I was like, I don't feel like doing my makeup right now, and then I have to set up the whole camera system, and then I have to do all this stuff, and then I was like, why are you overcomplicating it? Welcome back. Today, what are we gonna talk about? Who knows? I don't even have a list. I just started recording because originally I was on my Sam account yapping, and then I was like, this is a 15-minute yap. Like, I've added so many clips where I'm like, this is an episode of a podcast. Like, what are you talking about? Starting this off, be careful what you wish for. Genuinely be careful what you wish for. Because my entire life, my favorite trope of like romance and stuff was enemies to lovers. And Psalm 37:4 states like, delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. So this entire time I've really been like, why like this man is the bane of my existence. I hate him so much. And then I realized this is exactly what I asked for when I was like 15. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about that. Anyway, I'm trying to show more of my personality in these because I feel like I'm too stiff on this stuff. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like originally when I started this podcast, it was genuinely supposed to be like flow state yappery. And then I got too in my head about everything and I wanted to structure stuff too much. And I was like, oh, I want to help people. But then I think that within helping people, you can also give people humor. You know what I'm saying? Like, make the public laugh as well as heal them, because laughter is the most healing thing. I think that's the whole reason my healing journey has been accelerated, because I know how to laugh. I know how to make a good giggle. Obviously, you need to process the emotions and everything. I think that like my method of making everything into a bit has really like pushed me forward in life. I'm being dead serious. I'm just saying, like, and I don't understand why this is so difficult for me right now. I have my phone on and I'll be yapping and yapping and yapping, but because of the fact that this is like mentally, I'm like, this is a camera. But the thing is, like, whenever I record on a camera for my YouTube channel, I just like yap and yap and yap. But every time it's like the exact, like the podcast, I'm like, well, honestly, let's go check my notes app. What have I been writing down recently that is going to allow me to understand what I need to talk about? Yesterday, I wrote down in my phone, frolicking through the fairway. People don't like pure souls. Do you know why? Because pure souls reflect back the lack of purity within your own soul. So if you meet somebody who doesn't have a pure soul and who is kind of performing this idea of being a good person, even though goodness is subjective, because honestly, yeah, that's kind of my philosophy behind it, is goodness is subjective. You don't really know what's going on in anybody's life. You are judging people not knowing the circumstances they were put under. You're judging what someone chose to do with their options without even knowing what the options were. You're like, well, in their situation, I would have done this. Well, like, what if they never had that option to begin with? Like, what if that genuinely was not possible in their situation? Like, you are not them. You don't know what goes on in their life. You don't know what goes on in anyone's brain. You're not God, bro. Like, you're not God. And that's why the idea of like pantheism or whatever, where God's in everything, like we are all God, like that doesn't make any sense, guys. Do you know your neighbor's thoughts? You don't, right? So therefore, like logically speaking, that just doesn't even make any sense when you get down to it. I don't know. A pure soul isn't always gonna look like a good person. Sometimes a pure soul is somebody who's brought here to kind of change up the narrative, to call out the bullshit, to be like, hey, why are you doing this? This isn't okay. Just because something's been done some way for so long doesn't mean that that's correct and that's what should be being done, you know? My entire life, I've been met with this whole narrative that I'm an evil person, that I'm an awful person. One of my biggest insecurities my entire life, whether or not I was a bad person, because I feel like I had so many people like drop me all the time, like all this other stuff. People would kind of come around me and project all their insecurities onto me, tell me that I was something that I wasn't, when in reality, like, it was them. And because I didn't stand for the bullshit, I called stuff out, I said stuff how it was, they would be like, oh, you suck. When in reality, like, I've always had God's love within my heart, and it's been one of my, like, my biggest like, gifts, if that makes sense. It's like, I'm just such a lover, I feel things so deeply. And I don't just feel things deeply in a sense of like, I'm gonna allow myself to be driven by my anger. I can feel anger very, very deeply, but I only feel anger towards injustice, if that makes sense. When people wrong me, I don't necessarily feel a lot of anger towards that. I feel anger mostly towards the fact that, like, that's the thing, is like, I don't even feel like I feel anger in that sense anymore also, because I have this full understanding that Proverbs 21:2, all your ways may be right in your own head, but it's the Lord who weighs the heart. So stop trying to be a good person. Stay true to your heart. Stay true to your integrity, because if you do things for a performance, it's always going to end up badly, because why would you ever do anything to look a certain way? This whole idea of like performativeness, which is so funny to me, because last summer, whenever everyone was like ganging up on me for some reason, they all told me everything you do is so performative. Like, you kind of curate yourself so much, when I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I happen to be posting on YouTube and stuff like that, but like, I feel like I very openly like talk about the stuff that I've gone through. Like I openly, am myself. Just because you don't like the way that I portray myself doesn't mean anything about that. Just because you don't even know me well enough to understand who I really am doesn't mean that I'm performing. And it's the most performative people you've ever met in your life. It's just so dumb to me, if that makes sense. Like, and then they want to come and project onto you like you're performative and like you're virtue signaling and stuff like that. Like anytime I post anything, I feel like I have to disclaimer, like I'm not trying to virtue signal. I'm not trying to seem like I'm better than anybody else. Genuinely, it's just basic morality that I have to like do a disclaimer. Like I'm not trying to come across like I'm like the best person on earth. Genuinely, the society we live in, like, hey guys, I kind of don't stand for injustice and I think that this stuff should change because it's like harming people. Oh, the woke Olympics, like, are you guys okay? Genuinely, are you okay? Like, I don't know, it's just so crazy to me that people can see things and have this mindset of like apathy in our society is just so mind-boggling to me. Like, how does this not work you up? How does this not make you upset? Like, genuinely, what is going on here? Because there's some sort of disconnect. Because do I feel things too deeply, or are you guys just so disconnected from yourselves and you don't know yourselves well enough to be able to perceive the world correctly? All the time, they're like, how much money would it take for you to blank? And I'm like, no amount of money, I just wouldn't do that. They're like, no, like seriously, like $1 billion. I'm like, I still wouldn't do that for $1 billion. Like, no, like for real. And I'm like, I still wouldn't do that for $1 billion. And they're like, stop lying. Like, guys, I'm not lying. Like, there's genuinely no amount of money you could give me to cross my morals or my integrity or do something that I don't align with. And I've like lied as a joke and said that I would, but like if it came down to it and somebody had the money in their hand, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing it. What's so hard to comprehend about that? Like genuinely, because anytime I were to spend that money, it would be in the back of my head the thing that I had to do to get it. That's just like, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I can't cross my morals, I can't cross my boundaries, I can't cross my integrity. The Lord is always watching, but even whenever I wasn't Christian, even whenever I didn't believe in God, I still was the same exact way because I don't care. I'm not the type of person who's going to lie to get stuff from people. I'm not the type of person who's going to do things to benefit. I don't know how this is this weird thing. Like how, I mean, I understand why you would if you're in a desperate situation and stuff like that, but in any situation, like the only time I would ever do something like that is if like I had kids I needed to provide for, somebody was in extreme need of the money, but I would never even use that money for myself, if that makes sense. Like money just isn't that big of a deal to me. Yeah, it's so easy for you to say like you have money and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, but the thing is like maybe I have money because I don't pedestalize it so much. Maybe God gifted me with the ability to make money because of the fact that he knows that I'm not an ego-driven, narcissistic person who's going to use that money for evil. He knows that I'm going to use that money to push forth the kingdom and benefit his kingdom. That I'm going to use it for good. That I'm going to use it to help others. Because money isn't that big of a deal to me. It just isn't. I'm so sorry. That's what idols do to you. They mess you up in the head. They make you do things for them instead of trusting in God. That's why idols are so bad, because you kind of twist things and you twist narratives and eventually you operate from this cognitive dissonance that's making you not even see the fact that error in your ways. You know how like conviction becomes quieter and quieter until you don't even feel the conviction anymore? Like kind of like that. Also another thing is there's a huge difference between empaths and people pleasers. People pleasers are very narcissistic in my opinion. I think that's a really, really slippery slope, is to identify too much with being a people pleaser, because at what point is it people pleasing and at what point does it become just like, woe is me. Everyone just like topples over me and I'm such a good person and I do so right by others that everyone just like uses me. When in reality, like someone just asked you to do a simple favor, which you could have fully said no to, and you're building up quiet resentment underneath the surface because of the fact that you don't know how to set boundaries. But do you not know how to set boundaries, or do you purposely, subconsciously, or maybe consciously, who knows, weaponize people's favors and stuff and rack it up to create this whole narrative in your head where you're just like the greatest person on earth? So then you develop a superiority complex from within, but on the outside it looks like you're so humble and stuff, which is the definition of a covert narcissist. Hope this helps. All I'm saying is being an empath, it's an energetic thing, and I think people misunderstand that a lot. Like being an empath, I'm an empath. I'm not a people pleaser. I promise you that. I have never in my life been a people pleaser. Even my dad, whenever I was little, my parents would tell me stories about how like my dad would come up and be like, give me a kiss. I'd be like, no, my lip gloss, when I was genuinely two. Be like, papura, papura. Because pintura, like pintura de labio. They'd be like, papura, no. That's the thing, is like peer pressure just never worked on me because I'm not a people pleaser. If anything, I have like more like the bratty personality or whatever. Like if you tell me to do something just for the sake of doing it, I'm gonna be like, no, ew, bye. But since I am an empath and I do feel things very deeply, I am not a bad person, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna go and do something just because you told me to do it, but if you're giving me reasoning as to why you need help with this thing, like, I would be more than happy to help you. And it's not even like a, you have to respect me thing. Like, no, it's like, you need my help, I am more than willing to give it, genuinely. And most of the time, like, I'll help people out without them needing to ask, and I also don't need recognition for it because that's just how my heart is. Like, I wanna help you in any way that I can. Like, it brings me genuine joy to help you. But with people pleasers, it's more of like they don't know how to say no, and then it creates this like narcissism and this thing in their head where they're like, I'm just such a good person who will, and it's like virtue signaling to the max. My entire life I was very, like I said earlier, I think I mentioned this, I was very insecure about whether or not I was a bad person. So I would never like overcompensate and stuff like that, but like if somebody came to me and was like, hey, this thing hurt me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like I really didn't mean to do that. And I would try to explain myself, and then they would project onto me that I was a bad person, that I sucked, because I can't take accountability, when in reality they can't understand nuance, and that I'm just saying like, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, like this was just a misunderstanding. They need to be victims so badly that they won't ever accept that it's a misunderstanding, because if it's just a misunderstanding, then they don't get to be victims. Back to my main point though, being an empath is an energetic thing. You can feel the energy in a room, you can feel the feelings of the person in front of you. People will talk to me about stories and stuff like that, and I will start crying with them. Not because I'm trying to make it about me, but because like, it genuinely makes me so angry that you had to go through that. It upsets me so much even thinking about you going through that. I'm not trying to take the attention away from you or anything like that. Like genuinely, it just like hurts my heart to hear you hurt, you know? Like I can feel that pain, like it pains me. And that's what it means to be an empath. That's why I get so worked up about stuff, and I can't watch certain videos about things that are going on in the world, because I feel that. Like in my soul, like I feel it. And people who are people pleasers, they don't have that same energetic component, because people pleasers don't care about things going on in the world. They don't care about the goodness of others. They care about their own self-perception and making sure that they also like continue to come across as like a good person. I think empaths really do understand that goodness is subjective. I don't care if I look like the most evil bitch on earth, if I get to help out people, if I get to make change for what is right. I don't really care what y'all think of me. I'm so sorry. Like, people can talk all the stuff they want. All I know is that I'm staying true to my integrity. I'm staying true to myself. And you don't even know yourself to stay true to. So why would I care about your opinion? Like I said, this isn't me trying to virtue signal or anything like that. Like I'm a better person than anybody. Because my mind doesn't level things out in that way, if that makes sense. I think that's something so misinterpreted by people who don't have autism versus people who do have autism. Like, it's different mental wiring. So I genuinely have levels of empathy so deep within me that I can't level people based on society, because no matter good person, bad person, whatever, I genuinely think that on a humane soul level, everyone has equal value intrinsically, because we are all children of God. And this is even before I started believing in God. Like, I just genuinely believe that every person on earth has the same, like, right to joy in life. Always just had this understanding that you don't ever know what's going on in someone's life, so why would you judge them, circumstances that they're in? Like, you simply do not know ever. You don't know. So I've always just understood, like, don't ever compare your life to somebody else's, because people share their highlight reels. They share their best moments. Even me, like, I've shared so much stuff that's gone on in my life, but truly, I still do not share how much I struggle day to day sometimes. I don't struggle as much as I used to. Thank the Lord for that. Like, genuinely praise Jesus, hallelujah. Even whenever I was posting videos on, like, healing and stuff like that, like, I knew cognitively so much stuff. I had so much information that I could share that was valuable to people and that really did help people, but still in my day-to-day life, I was still struggling so much, and I was still trying to like push it forward, like, you got it, like, you got to get up, girl, like, you just got to keep going, and eventually it will get better. And thank God it did eventually. But seriously, like, that really, really highlighted to me, you genuinely never know what's going on in someone's life. Even I, who was so open about mental health, who was so open about struggles, could not ever truly depict how much I was struggling in my posts, because it's quite literally impossible for me to put you in my shoes and to have you live my life. Comparison is a never-ending pity that only ends in distraction from your own potential. So even if you think you know somebody, you never entirely do. So to have a kind of mindset in a situation where, like, oh, I know what they're gonna do. Like, oh, blank wouldn't do this, blank wouldn't do that. You never know. Genuinely, you never know. So stop limiting yourself to a perception of who you think somebody is. And stop limiting yourself to a perception of who you think you are. The more you know yourself, the more you get to know others. And I think that sometimes people who don't know themselves very well view this world from an objectivity that they view themselves with, because of the fact that they've never chosen to dive deeply. I have this insane ability to see people for who they are now, because of the fact that I've gone so deeply, deeply, deeply within myself. And it gets really lonely sometimes, because no one else kind of has this perception on the world. I've yet to meet somebody who knows themselves as well as I know myself. And that's the thing, is like, I'll say things like that and people think like, oh, so you just think you're smarter than everyone. Like, no, guys, no. And I literally got a trauma response where I'm like, I don't think, I'm sorry, Genuinely, I've yet to meet somebody who knows themselves as well as I know myself. So I've yet to meet somebody who can understand me at the depth that I will ever understand them. And it sucks, because it feels really lonely. It's like this quiet. I remember I posted something about this about a while back. Like, everyone's an ocean regardless of whether they decide to dive in and explore. The true pursuit of connection begins with humility and is carried by understanding. The more you know, the more isolating it gets. Being born so aware it made me feel lonely in rooms filled with laughter, but perception integrated with wisdom and grounded in discernment created a version of myself who can help so many people. I carry a grief that isn't personal, one that's rooted in the awareness that I might not ever be truly known, also in how evil people can be, but more so how dark they must have felt to have developed that perception in the first place. Sometimes I think the delusion saved me. Had I known what was actually going on, it would have eaten me alive. I was never naive, just filled with hope. And that was like reflecting on my experience going into psychosis, having these delusions and false realities that created in my head to kind of cope with the pain that I was feeling at the time. Because I think that's honestly what psychosis is I think people have a huge misunderstanding of it and it's written off as like this crazy thing, but it's quite literally your brain cannot cope with the pain that it is feeling, so it creates this false reality and false delusions to justify said pain so that you don't have to feel it as much. And I was going through such a hard time mentally that my brain literally like snapped. Like it snapped. And having to build myself back up from that, like groundwork up, like excavating myself to find who I am outside of the perceptions that people laid upon me, it made me realize like I always knew who I was. And every single thing that I did for my healing journey and to find myself was me straying away further and further from who I actually was. Because I always knew myself. The people I was surrounding myself with were just too insecure to accept me as me. And they kept wanting to change me. They kept wanting me to be something that I wasn't. When in reality, like, they should have just left me alone. I remember there were so many times where I tried to cut these people off, but they would project onto me that I was a bad person for wanting to cut them off because they were hurting me. And that I was like my ex-best friend, for example, she would continuously like tell me that I was in the wrong, that I did all this stuff, when in reality, like I was just setting boundaries. Like I was just saying like, hey girl, I don't really think you have any jurisdiction about saying who I am whenever you moved away a year ago and you barely talked to me since. And she was like, that's not true. Like I don't talk to you because you never asked me how I am. I'm like, because I never ask you how you are? What are you talking about? Like, I do ask how you are. You just choose not to respond. There were so many instances where I'd be like, how are you, girl? And she'd be like, oh, I'm just chilling. How? I'm just good. And I'm like, okay, it's not my fault that you don't understand that that's an actual question where I actually want to talk to you. That's not my fault because you don't know how to communicate. And I have no resentment towards her whatsoever. Although I genuinely like, it's just so crazy to me how awful people can be and how warped perceptions of reality can be to make it seem like they didn't do anything wrong, when the reality is that every single person I've told this story to, not even like from this perception of like, oh, she did this to me and I was so hurt. No, like genuinely from an objective standpoint of like, all I have to say is she was my best friend for years, met my ex like 3 times, suddenly they were friends, she was telling him things about me and cut me off and like didn't tell me that they were in contact whatsoever and would like slightly mention it here and there as if it was like something casual, which I said like I didn't mind, but only because they manipulated me into thinking that I was also word like I was just insecure and stuff like that, when in reality, like, no, you guys just have no sense of loyalty or integrity. And like anyone who I've asked, even therapists, they're like, yeah, that's weird. Like, it's genuinely so weird. Like, what is wrong with her? I don't even know. I don't want to get into that because like, I don't even know. It just like fascinates me. Like, wow, like I wonder what her head is like. Someone sent me once that she reposted something about like sheets that I used to have. And she was like, the sheets that like the most evil girl in the world you've ever met has. And I'm like, guys, I'm the most evil girl in the world. Wow. And it just makes me laugh because it's like, you seriously think that? The things that I did for this girl, the amount of love I showed this girl, like genuinely I would text her randomly all the time, like, I just love you so much, thank you for being my friend. Though one of the last texts I ever sent her was this like paragraph about how much I appreciated our friendship. And then she didn't respond to that. And she cut me off with 1 text message. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Like, why didn't you tell me before? And she even said in the message, like, maybe this is my own fault. Like, I've just let this fester inside of me. And I'm like, yeah, it is your fault. Because the one time we had a fight or whatever, bringing up this situation, because apparently I was like, I don't even know what I did. Like, seriously, like every time she kind of talks about something that I did, it isn't even something that I did to her. Like, me and my ex, we had our problems, we had our quarrels that she didn't need to know about, so I didn't talk to them about her. Also because my ex was like, people don't understand, like, you shouldn't be talking about your relationship to other people. Like, I agree that you shouldn't be kind of going to other people for advice on your relationship. Your relationship is your relationship. But it gets to a point also where, like, that's manipulation. That's somebody trying to warp your sense of reality so that you don't leave them, so that they don't have to treat you well, but you also won't leave them whenever they're treating you badly. I don't know, just my entire life, I've never cared about the way people thought of me. Genuinely, I only cared about whether or not I hurt people. And I think that really pushed me to the edge because my entire life I was like, oh, you think I suck? Whatever, I don't care. Is that these people genuinely made me feel like I like stabbed them repeatedly and was like so awful to them just by existing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never meant to do that, ever. Genuinely, I never meant to hurt anyone. I never meant to be in anyone's way. I never meant to do anything wrong my entire life. I've never ever meant wrong by anybody. I don't think I've ever done anything with the perspective of like, I want you to feel pain. I'll think back to times where I was like manipulative in a sense. And the only time I've ever been manipulative is like my ex was going to the gym, because I remember I would ask him, I was like, do you think you could go to the gym a little earlier today? Because I'm not allowed to sleep over anymore and I want to spend time with you. So like, I would like to have more time in the day. When you're going to the gym at 5 p.m., we're only hanging out at like past 9. I have to go home at midnight. Like, it kind of sucks. It feels like I'm an afterthought in your life. He's like, no, that you're so narcissistic. Like, you only think of yourself. Like, this is my me time. I'm like, I understand that you want to go to the gym during sunset. Like, that's the thing with manipulation. In that situation, like, what do you even say to that? Like, oh, like, I'm not trying to intrude on your you time or whatever, but like, me being me, I'm like, if I like loved somebody and I cared for somebody and I like genuinely enjoyed my time with them, how he said he did, I wouldn't mind shifting the hour of my workout, because my workout just like, I'm so sorry, my workout is not that important to me than somebody I love. And then I quickly realized, oh yeah, it's because you don't feel love. Like, you don't feel the energy of love because you're disconnected from your soul. Repent, ho. Repent and get that spirit out of you, mama. I'm so sorry. But I'm just saying, like, oh my goodness. Like, why is that such a big deal? Like, it's generally not. Like, and I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I do suck. I'm such an awful person. I'm so self-centered for wanting you to change your hour of self-care. Like, that's how my mind was. That's how warped it was, because genuinely, like, I could not breathe the correct way. And shit, like, you guys think I'm kidding. You think I'm kidding. I'm not. I remember I was sitting in his kitchen one day. No, I sent him a TikTok, because this was whenever I was first trying to do better with the TikTok. And once my TikTok started blowing up, he broke up with me. Seems like somebody doesn't want the spotlight to be taken. Wow. Anyway, do you see how like beautiful the Lord is? I can just talk about this and laugh about it genuinely. Like, it does not faze me. Like, I reflect on it now and from like a comedic perspective. Like, the Lord changes everything from bad to good, which is so beautiful in my opinion. So like, I got the gift of desperation. I sought out the Lord whenever I was in a lot of pain, and now I can just laugh about it. Like, golly gee, you know? Whoa. But I'm just saying, like, what was I talking about again? Wait, this was gonna be really funny. I remember. I promise it's supposed to be funny. What am I? Oh, guys, can we circle back? Oh yeah, I sent him one of my TikToks that I was trying to do, and he pointed out that I like take deep breaths in between my sentences because I talk too fast and I don't know how to breathe while I talk. And it wasn't even because of that. It's literally just because of the fact that I'm hypermobile. So my like lungs, the way they're configured and stuff like that, I don't know how to breathe while I talk. So I have to stop and take deep breaths because my body is built up that way because I have autism and developmental disability. I became hypermobile as a result of that. It wasn't even something that I could control. And he was like trying to judge me, like, learn how to breathe when you talk. I'm like, it's just like, I think of little things like that that were so normalized to me at the time because genuinely I thought that like I deserved that treatment because I was just so awful to him for not letting him have his hour of him time whenever he wanted it. What? The more I talk about it, the more like mind-boggling it is to me. Like, guys, I was genuinely under a spell. I was possessed. There was something going on in my brain. Like, that was not me. Anyway, I always remember what Cinderella's mother said. Be kind and have courage. Kindness is very different than niceness. Niceness, in my opinion, being nice is being manipulative. And we don't fuck with manipulation here, because if you don't want to be around me, that's cool. Why would I manipulate somebody out of their own free will into doing stuff that they don't want to do? Like, oh, you have to play ego mind games, you have to do this. Like, guys, that's all manipulation. You know that, right? Do you ever want to be with somebody who doesn't love you for you? Why would you ever want to use these like red pill tactics, these pink pill tactics, all this other stuff to get stuff that you want? Like, just be yourself, and those who align will align. Like, seriously, you guys need to learn how to have more love in your heart for yourselves, because if you were to have more love in your heart for yourself, you wouldn't care to be lonely for a period of time or to be alone for a period of time just so the right people can come forth. It's like, I've spent so much of my time alone and I don't feel bad about it. I don't think that's something negative. Everyone's like, oh, but you're in your early 20s. Like, don't you want to go out? Don't you want to do this stuff? Don't you want to meet people? No, honestly, like, I love my alone time. I truly do. Like, why do you guys think I have so much, like, I have so many hobbies, I've accomplished so many things? Because I don't waste my time. Everything that I do is very, very intentional, if that makes sense. Like it needs to feed me in some way, whether it be my mind, whether it be my pockets, whether it be my understanding, whether it be my empathy, whether it be my compassion. Like, I don't just sit and do things for no reason. It's just about having intentionality with your time. And if you don't have that, you have nothing. It's like, I know how to have fun also, but the thing is, like, I'm literally going to the bar tonight. And every now and then I can do that intentionally and have fun and like go out and like really appreciate the moment. But I think anytime you do anything too much, or anytime you push yourself to do something and force yourself to do something, something or do something out of habit, that's when the intentionality gets removed from it. Like if I were to go to the bar every weekend routinely, it doesn't become this fun thing that I'm doing with my friends. It becomes something that I'm doing to outsource and like distract myself from whatever else is going on in my life. Sue me, that's just my perspective. Funny story, the other day I actually posted a video saying I can fix clavicular because I'm just so fascinated by him, if that makes sense. Like obviously I have a psychology hyperfixation, so seeing a guy who acts like clavicular does is just like so fascinating to me. In the TikTok I was like, I feel like I can sit him down and give him a really good psychology lesson on like why he is the way he is so he can stop acting like that. And then it made me realize like, wow, this is the root of all my issues in life. Instead of seeing the bad men and thinking he's a bad man, I see the bad men and I think, why do you act like that? Like I'm intrigued. I'm fascinated by you. Like I want to understand you. I want to get in your head and like figure you out. Turns out that was like my yearning for knowledge. Turns out I just like love learning things. Wow, crazy concept. And it's also intertwined with like my empathy. So like those two mixed together, not a very good show. Yeah, not very pretty. Anyway, clavicular ended up liking it, which is so funny to me. Like, hi, do you want the psychology lesson? LMK girl. My friend was like, you should DM him and ask him to be on his like podcast or like do something like that. And I'm like, I don't think our audiences would align. Like I don't want his followers following me. They're like, okay, but like good publicity. I'm like, not all publicity is good publicity. That's not how I am. I do have morals. I do have integrity. And like, there's just certain lines that I'm not willing to cross because I'm not that desperate. You know, the only thing I'm that desperate for is God. I'm not desperate for fame. I'm not desperate for anything. I'm desperate for God. And God is going to align my path for me. That's the importance of not having idols. Because whenever you put something else above God, you become more desperate for that thing than you become for God. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish it off there. I'm going to get ready to go out tonight. Girls Gone Wild, guys. First time going out in, wow, like 4 months. Wait, am I a loser? I've just been so busy. Like all I've been doing is working and working out and like doing stuff. Like I've been trying to get into my hobbies again more because genuinely I'm burning myself out only working all the time and that's no good. I hope you guys have a splendid one. Thank you so much for watching. I think I'm going to be doing more of these because this was actually really fun. This every episode, but like I promise you I'm going to try more because before it was like, yeah, I can flow state, but sometimes I can't flow state. Shocker, sometimes I can't flow state, guys. Sometimes I'll start recording and just like nothing comes to me and it kind of sucks. That happened one time before. I was like, no, that sucked. Why? Now that I'm allowed to add humor into this, I've allowed myself, because I really like, this is my podcast. Like, what are we talking about? I have to do certain things and like abide by certain like guideline thing. Like, this is my podcast. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about negative things and stuff like that, but I'm just saying like, this is my stuff. I can do whatever I want with my stuff. Like, it recently dawned upon me like, oh, I have free will. Like there's no management team, there's no nothing. This is just me and like flow statery. And people love my thoughts, okay? They don't just love my philosophical thoughts, they love my humorous thoughts, they love all my thoughts and my face. So let's put her to good work, yay! Y'all have a good one. Illy girl, peace out, bye!